Hi there. This is Screech Bomb Commentaries. This is our fourth episode. My name is David Baron Fabulous Lark. My delightful co-host is,
Callum, the good doctor, Young.
and today we are looking at the matchup between Fortunately Grandiose Rowan, which is piloted by
Xoas, Xoas, who's the winner of the Greek Vaulto.
very good pronunciation there. I think the Greeks would
Beautiful,
approve.
beautiful stuff.
Now to some terrible pronunciations as I try and pronounce this. We have Caster Lexite Giolier du Rocher.
Which is being piloted by the French Grand Champion, Laxie.
Ah, right, excellent. So we're going to talk about Fortunately Grandiose Rowan first. Now, first thing I notice as a man who loves to fight and loves big creatures is the board score here is one of the lowest I've ever seen at 36.
I think I've only seen maybe one or two decks with a lower score than that. It is almost nothing, essentially. Absent of creatures, you have to start questioning, how is it going to win? What is it going to do to generate Ember in the absence of creatures?
Yeah, you look at you literally have only two creatures in the entire deck with power more than 2, which it's not something you see every day, but it's very interesting.
3, I think, with the director of ZYX, but still.
Yes.
So you have quite a decent expected Ember and quite a high efficiency because of all the AoE logos. So you've got Double Igor, you've got Helper Bots, you've got the Director, you've got a Memory Chip, and in that you've got the Brig combo. So the Binet Rupture and the Interdimensional Graft.
Exactly. So what you're going to be hoping to do a lot here, especially with the logos, is kind of like running through your deck and getting exactly the cards you need as much as possible. So with the Igors, say if the other person's got a lot of Ember, you need, say, your Shulas or you're running Risk Clocks. You're going to be chucking away stuff that's maybe not as useful at the time, like a Night Forge or a Not Finished With You or a Binding Eyes, as the case may be. Healthbot, just an excellent card in terms of just kind of like allowing you to play other one non-logos card. It could be anything, but generally just gets you through your deck quicker and useful. And a really nice one here actually is Feeler the Researcher. This is a card you don't see very often, especially because it's AoE, which is a set you don't see very often, and it's an uncommon card. But after creatures played adjacent to Feeler the Researcher, draw a card. So you're going to be drawing usually at least 2 cards off of this, if not more.
And with the Helper Bot and a Hysteria in the deck, you could potentially do some degenerate logos things, which would be quite enjoyable.
Yes, you really could.
And you've just got some decent Ember control, you've got some decent creature control, you've got the Hysteria, Sack of Coins, Bouncing Death Quark. I'm interested to hear you describe Night Forge as one of the cards you might not necessarily want. I think it has a decent chance of going off in this deck, which is unusual.
It does, but I can imagine that if you're picking up an Igor turn, it's going to be very rarely one that you're choosing to put in your hand off an Igor. I think if you draw it, you're not mad about it, but it's just not one that I'd choose off an Igor.
But I think with a lot of archiving, with the Brig for sudden Ember generation not on your turn, I think you have potential, and a lot of Ember pips in the shadows, I think you have potential to hit that Night Forge in a way that will make a difference.
That's very true. That's very true. It is expensive for a key cheat though.
It is. You probably want your 3rd key with the Night Forge.
You are forging for, it has a pip on it, so you need to have at least 9 Ember to forge with this, which you're not seeing all that often.
Okay, speaking of expensive keys, I think we could perhaps now use this to pop over to the French deck.
There's one thing I do want to look at, which is Red Hot Armor. It's a rare, so you don't see it very often. Each enemy creature with armor loses all of its armor until the end of turn. Is dealt 1 point of damage for each armor lost this way. We'll see in a moment when we go over to the other deck, but this could actually be quite significant for playing against Saurians, because a lot of the creatures are armored, and this could do some damage to those. But yeah, we will now pop over to the other deck, which I'm not trying to pronounce again, because I'm sure I butchered it the first time.
Well, I put it through Google Translate, and it is either Excited Caster, Jailer of the Rock, or Excited Beaver, Jailer of the Rock, depending on how you've translated that.
Interesting.
Which it does raise some interesting questions.
It does.
So, first thing that jumps out at me here is the key costs. So you have triple Edai.
You do.
You've got a Universal Keylock for an additional +3, and you've got the Evil Eye for a +3 again.
Yeah.
So you're going to want to be winning games by making your opponent pay
So did you say Universal Keylock? I think you were looking at Universal Recycle
Uh,
Bin, which is a
I
different
am
card.
looking at Universal Recycle Bin. I'm sorry. That
Yeah.
is far less useful,
Yeah,
possibly.
especially in this matchup where I don't think the other deck had any purge. It wasn't as much of a thing in the earlier sets. This is much more useful in, say, a Mass Mutation or a Worlds Collide. But I don't believe you're going to see much use out of this one.
No, possibly not. Well, still, you've got triple Edie and the Evil Eye, so you want to ramp up your opponent's key cost while you beat them to forging for a more normal price.
Exactly. I think this each house in this deck has some really good things. But I think the one that's maybe going to be the most difficult to use in this matchup is the Dis, because you've got a card like Hysteria, where you're probably not going to be wanting to use that with the low creature count your opponent has and the very good play effects that they have. Key to this, similarly, you're often going to be doing more damage to yourself than you are your opponent by using that. Eterome is another one where it's Destroy Creature House with the most creatures in play, where they've got not many creatures to begin with, and they're probably not that fussed about destroying them. This could be one that you're actually not wanting to reap with, because it's doing more damage to yourself than your opponent.
Yeah, so it could be clunky Dis hands you could get here. Hopefully they can just archive it all away with the logos, or sort of cycle through it in a way that's not going to cause them too many problems.
With 3 Edis and an Igor, you've got to think that there's a decent chance they'll be able to do that. And it's 3 Edis. You've got to bear in mind that the effect of Edi, it does stack. So if you're getting all 3 of those out, you're going to be increasing their key cost by 9, which is going to make their Night Forge a lot less usable all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of the sting out of that, I think, possibly.
The only thing with that is, though, it does allow the other deck to build up a lot more Ember and maybe get better Binary Ruptures off. So you're going to have to be careful that you don't want to let them stack up too much Ember in case because they double their own Ember as well as yours. So you could leave them with, say, a crazy amount of Ember and kill off their Edis for a pretty nice turn.
Absolutely. So the final house we have here is the Saurians, which to me looks like it's going to be combo heavy, centered around the Imperial Forge and the Tribute.
This is my kind of thing. I love to see this kind of thing. You've got your big Saurian boys that are going to be putting Ember on themselves, protecting each other, and then just ready for either stacking a load of Ember on the Shrix, which is easier to do than you think, because a lot of the creatures in this deck are 4 power or below. So there's a decent chance you might be able to get the Tribute onto the Shrix, and just be piling all of your opponent's Ember onto the Shrix. And if you can protect it, which with an Imperium and a Brutal Auxiliary, if you can get that next to the Shrix and get them both warded, it's going to be pretty hard to break through that and get that Ember back from the Shrix, and you're potentially going to be getting a big Forge. I think the big card we want to look at here, though, is Imperial Forge. It is a rare, so you're not seeing it too often, but Forge a key for +8 current cost, reduced by 1 for each Ember on friendly creatures. You've got to look at all the ways of getting Ember onto your creatures in this deck and realize that is very doable. You've got, as we just said, you've got your Shrix with your Tribute. You've got Retta Gallem, who you can reach for Ember on. You've got Orator Hissaro, who exalts neighbors when it uses its effect.
And then
Odoac to capture one.
You're right to activate them as well, so you get a couple more reaps in that turn.
Yep. You've got a Phalanx Strike, which, even if you've not got many creatures on the board in this matchup, it's still going to just kill 2 things, get you another Ember on. I think we could definitely be seeing a really big Imperial Forge in this game, and it could be a very impressive thing to see.
I will put this out there. I will be surprised if we make it through this matchup without at least 1 key being forged with Imperial Forge.
Yeah, I will not be surprised. Okay, well, I think that pretty much covers both decks. The best thing now is to see how they play against each other. So I think we go on to the game.
All right, let's do it.
So hi there. Now, let's join you with the game. So I'll hand you over to the good doctor to explain the teams.
So on the bottom we have Xoas, who's the Greek Volta winner. On the top we have Petibat or Laxie, who's the French Grand Champion.
And you can see immediately we're here with Xoas. We kind of started a little bit into the game, but he appears to, at least in his opening hand, have gotten the Binate Rupture Interdimensional Graft combo that we discussed earlier. Now, Laxie has accelerated into a very early Logos board. That's 4 creatures. Also, with the Sanitation Engineer, it's a really useful one to get out because you can just chuck out cards that you're not going to be using in the near future really well. So, for example, if he does play a Logos turn, unlikely to need, say, the Evil Eye in the near future, or the Malison maybe, and you can just discard those, get another card. He's also got the Entropic Swirl as well. Not a great target from Xoas' side to hit it with, because the Entropic Swirl, how it works is, for each trait a card has, it does 2 damage and gains you an Ember. The only target he has from his opponent's side is Shula, which only has Demon as its trait, so he can get 2 damage and 1 Ember off it. But if he, say, hit, for example, his Sanitation Engineer, and that has 2 traits, which Callum will inform us of in a second. So if he hit that, he would get 4 damage on it in total, and 2 Ember. He goes for this, though, plays out an Inspector of Malison and a Evil Eye.
I think just building up a reasonably sized board straight off the bat, so you can start getting some reaping.
Yeah. So what Xoas has done here, which I think is maybe not the wisest, is he's kind of stuck himself into that that kind of graft and binary rupture thing, and he's not going to want to use it early, but he's also not going to want to chain himself with it and have to hold it the entire time. So he's either sticking himself with 2 cards for a long time here, or he's just going to have to burn it and not get the full use out of it. It looks like he's holding it, though, because he's not played the rupture straight off the bat.
I suppose we don't know whether they mulliganed into that or whether they kept that hand.
That's true. They might have done that. Actually, yeah, because I think he was the first player, and he only had 6 cards in hand, so yeah, we can't tell either way, but he might have just been unfortunate. But plays out a nice Logos turn, gets a Nerve Blast, the Wild Wormhole, which I imagine you can't be too unhappy with, and cut that research to get into a healthy 4 Ember.
And also, if we're looking at Petty Bat, they are also hitting with the combo pieces in hand. We have a Shrix and Imperial Forge already, and they don't want to be seeing that either. So they're going to go Dis, just try and thin out the hand a bit.
Yeah. So you're putting the Soul Keeper on the Inspector, fighting the Inspector into the Shula, and then destroying it. Purge the card from hand. Managed to get the Poltergeist, which isn't too useful. I imagine Xoas would have been very disappointed there if he'd managed to purge either of the Brig pieces.
Yeah, that's a narrow escape there, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, uses the Sucker Puncher to get 2 damage on the E-Die. There were no targets. But it's the Brutus on Auxiliary with the Merkins. That's big, because that's the only taunt that Laxie has in their deck, which is going to make it much harder to protect the Shrix if they do want to get like a big play off, get a lot of Ember on it, and be able to spend it. That's quite a big play.
But they still can't get quite the value they might want of the Entropic Swirl.
I know they did it on the Merkins, dealt 4 damage to it. Merkins is a elf and a thief.
As an elf and a thief, okay.
No, not getting a big creature off it, but you can't be mad at that. You're getting 2 Ember, killing a thing. Pretty happy.
I think you want the Ember more than you want the creature removal.
They are on a lot of Ember here, and I feel like this is the time you're going to see the Brig.
I assume we've got to see the Brig here. Xoas on 5 Ember as well, so they're going to double that to 10 and then take another 10 from Batiba.
Exactly. This could be. I mean, I hate to say things are game winning. I think a lot of times, when it's very rare you actually see that. But this could be a very large amount of Ember, and while Laxie has Ember control, it's stuff like your tributes. It's your stuff that's like it's taking a large amount of Ember, but it's not taking all of the Ember. It's not destroying all of the Ember. It's not like a too much to protect or an interdimensional graft. This could be like a really unassailable amount of Ember to have to go through.
Although they may not hit it yet, because you can drop a Shula, potentially a Hysteria as well, and use the Lash of Broken Dreams to make them go even higher.
I think you could do. Yeah, that's true.
But he's just going to hit the Brig.
Yeah, I think you don't want to hang around on that. Like, when you can get such a large amount here, it's one of those things where it's too risky not to. And yeah, as we see here, up to 11 Ember for Xoas, 16 Ember from Laxie, and he's about to give 10 of that to put 21. Oof, that is.
Also, archive the Hysteria with the memory chips, so that could potentially be big for some anti-Saurian shenanigans later.
I think we are going to see Saurian here, just to get them out of the hand. I mean, you've got 5 cards in hand. You can destroy the Brutodon Auxiliary and also destroy the ZYX if you so choose. Get a ward on the Shrix, and I think you might just play the Forge for Ember here. Unfortunately, I don't think it might be worth keeping in hand. Although you are likely supposed to get a tribute.
Yeah, unless that tribute's in his archives, which I don't know if it is.
It could be. That's very true. It could be. So yeah, I think Laxie is understandably thinking here. This is going to be a body blow. You know, we all play.
Yeah.
When you play Keyforge and you get a turn like this where someone just gets to a huge amount of Ember, and you're just like, what do I do here? You just want to just take some time, just to like level yourself, sit down, and think about it. And I don't think Lasky is necessarily out of this. You know, although Xoas has a lot of Ember here, he's going to pay 8 to forge the key that he's about to forge. He's potentially going to have to pay another 8 because it looks like Lasky is, if he does do the phalanx strike, he's going to destroy both creatures he has down. You know, it's not the end of the world. It just probably feels like it.
It's the time when you stop and think because you're in a difficult situation.
Yeah.
He's going to go for the Saurian turn.
Yeah, and I think phalanx strike to kill the 2 creatures. You would want to get both.
Banging on Shrix.
There's an argument that you actually might want to ward at least one of the E-dies rather than say the Legacy.
I think they will, yeah, especially with such a light creature deck on the other side of the board.
Yeah,
you're not going to be fighting that much. You're not going to get the effect you want from Legatus. So I would probably ward one of the E-dies.
Yeah.
They're giving it some thought, which I think is reasonable.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, the E-die and the Shrix, and warding the E-die with more health, which I think is sensible. We do see the sack of coins in Xoas' hand. So I can see potentially one of these. Is sack of coins split between creatures or is it to one?
Yeah,
creature?
you can split it however you want.
Split it, so I can see both of these wards. He's 13 damage actually, 14 with the Ember Pip. So you could be seeing both E-dies and Shrix gone.
I think he's missed a trick there. I think you play the Oubliette first to unward one E-die, then take out 2 of them.
You can just leave one of them without damage and just put damage in other places if you're going to do that. You don't need to kill both.
Oh, true. And I suppose you unward one and then purge it afterwards.
Yeah.
That's actually better. That's much more what we want.
Yeah,
Never mind.
I think he'll whack a damage on the already damaged E-die, 1 on the warded one, and put the 6 into Shrix that you need to. And then oh, interesting. Spreads the damage. Oh, does it? You can't. Is it because it's not individual?
Yeah, so you can divide it up, but it resolves simultaneously.
Okay, so the Shrix can't die, but he still has gotten rid of both. Got killed an E-die, purged another.
But we're now looking on the other side at a Tribute Imperial Forge combo, but he can't get it off yet because he's got the Malison on the board.
I mean, he might just be happy just to get the Ember off, but he's putting it onto a creature that's got 2 damage on it already. He's got no Ludo.
Can he get the Imperial Forge off here, even if he doesn't tribute onto the Shrix?
If he reaps with the Shrix, gets an Ember and puts an Ember on the Shrix. So he's got 6, let's call it, if you include the Ember on the Shrix. Actually, interesting, because you can pay Ember on a Shrix to forge a key. So do you almost count that for double then?
I think he can hit it. I think if they reap twice, exalt with the Shrix.
He can. Yes, he definitely can, because you get 5 from the tribute, assuming you exalt, plus the Ember on the tribute. You get 1 from you can 100% get that key.
But you don't. You want to, I guess, potentially save it for a 3rd key.
Yeah, maybe try and find a way to kill. He's got an Odoak as well, which is good. Now what does Xoas do here? Dis to increase the key cost with the lash.
Yeah, I think you can Shula Hysteria Shula, the Hysteria in the archives.
Oh,
pick up 2
Hysteria in the archives. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
oof, that is. That's a problem.
And you get 2 off the Shrix as well. Get rid of the Eddy, and you're looking.
Yeah, he's going for the Dis, and like you said, yeah. And there we go. The Hysteria goes down. This does, however, mean you can get all that Ember on the Shrix, which is important.
Yes, and now I think there'll be a much bigger Imperial Forge.
Yeah. So I imagine he's going to play Shrix first, then the Tribute. And
Ooh, this is going to be a huge swing.
Yeah. And
With
we'll
the
then
Odoak
see
as
the
well,
forward.
this key is going to be practically free.
Yeah. Using your opponent's Ember to do it, what could be sweeter?
It'll be real nice.
He is going to be paying 9 for it though, still. So not ideal, but actually, yeah, let's do the count. So you're going to get 5 on tricks, reduce the cost by 5 because the Imperial Forge, 1 on Odoak, and reduce the cost by 1.
So then you pay 8 for the key. But no, because he lashed. He hit him with the lash.
Yeah.
So the math doesn't work.
Gone to Dis.
He can't hit that Imperial Forge.
That's
he can take him off check with the Infernus and a
the
Rock Grub, I think that is.
Yeah, that's what he's doing, yeah.
Hope that he doesn't lash next turn.
Yeah. Which I think he's unlikely to. I imagine he's going to go for the Logos turn, possibly. Save the shadows for knocking him off a key. Knocking off a forge, rather.
Potentially. Or delaying him, at least.
We have already seen the Poltergeist, so putting down the key to this isn't too risky.
Plays the Malison again, which is interesting.
Ooh, yeah, I wouldn't have done that. I think I would have discarded that. Try to get the bigger Saurian turn off.
It's less of a problem now that he has the key to Dis.
True, yeah, he can just destroy everything, which he probably will do actually. Just get everything out of the way and then do it. Yeah, that's actually very sensible. You are correct there.
We're going to see a Logos turn.
Death Quark, that's interesting. Will Xoas use this or not? And a Helper Bot as well. So maybe go to the Ronnie, get the steal. Not going to be generally more useful when someone's on more Ember, but in this case, yeah, just wants to get himself on check. Say to Laxie, I'm on check. You got to deal with this. This game is on a knife edge for Laxie, though. He is hanging in there, though. And killed the Malison for it. Yeah, there you go. Killed everything for him. Doesn't need to use the key to this, but I imagine he will anyway.
Redraws the Hysteria off the top of the deck. That is huge.
Is it, though? Because I think you're not actually going to see any Ember on Strix by the end of this. I think he's going to use all of it to forge the key.
True, but you're still going to be pretty happy if you're Xoas. That's one of the things you definitely want.
Yeah. So yeah, here we go with the Saurian. So he's picking up a lot of there's the tribute. Ooh, he's got the Orator Hissero as well.
Oh, so he can hit the Strix with the Orator.
Okay.
Oh, this is going to be
Orator.
fun.
Yep, gets the Reap on both. Or it's a use, isn't it? So he's going to fight to use the Strix again.
Go again.
Oh,
this is even more brutal than we imagined.
Spicy. 9 Ember on the Strix. Is he going to use it all here?
I'm not even sure he will.
He may,
because the key is going to cost this key is going to cost less than.
Yeah.
He was basically he's like free and with Ember to spare.
Yeah, I mean the Hysteria though here. Oh, this is going to be brutal.
Oh, that's what I mean. Like the odds of you seeing that he's top decked the Hysteria are nothing. You think he's played it. The odds of him having it are so slim.
Yeah. The only other thing that he might have drawn is the Poltergeist into the key to Dis. Would have kind of done a similar thing, but you wouldn't have been able to knock him off check with that. Oh, no, you would have lashed Broken Dreams. This is heartbreaking because that was such a good play. That was beautiful.
Yeah, and he waited. He sort of archived stuff. They built it up to the precisely correct time.
The restraint shown was admirable, but this is going to be, as I say, heartbreaking to see.
Oh no!
Oh heck! What's gone on? We've been booted.
Oh no! This is devastating.
It looks like the game. No. What happened here? Did the game? I mean, I felt like it was going to go one way. I don't think Laxie had any way of coming back from that, but I don't actually know what happened here. It looks like Xoas has started a new game.
No! Oh no, that's horrible. Did they concede?
I don't know. Well, we'll see. I assume there'll be some chat between. It's unclear.
Surely you win it with the Lash and the Hysteria.
Yeah, I think
that puts you on a huge amount of Ember.
it looks like we've got a reversal match going on. So I think we may have just cut to this game, and I assume the win was given to Xoas. That I can't see how Petty Bat would have or Laxie rather. Sorry, the name on the Discord and the name on the CCO and the name of the players confuse me. I can't see how he would have come back from that. So I think we have to assume that Xoas got the win there.
Yes, because you lash to stop them and then you hit the Hysteria. Replay Shula.
Yeah. And yeah, you knock them off check and get an insurmountable amount of Ember again.
Hell of a game that was. And we saw both the power of Brig and the power of the Saurian combo.
And Laxie for coming back from that early Brig. I mean, that was, what was it, turn 3 or 4 where that happened.
Pretty early.
Xoas on 21 Ember. You know, nearly enough to forge 4 keys. And Laxie just about pulled it back, apart from a incredibly fortunate top deck Hysteria there. I think that's stuff like that was why we love Keyforge. Just like
I mean,
those nail biting finishes are just beautiful.
It was exciting, love and hate, because if I'm Petty Bat in that situation, I am cursing the heavens.
Oh, entirely.
At my horrible luck.
I think Xoas here has got a nice hand, a very keepable hand. I'd say maybe get the hologramophone down and set up for the disc next turn. Laxie, I can't see you keeping this hand. You don't want the Binet Rupture that early. You don't want the Shula that early. And he has mulliganed too. Unfortunately, not much better.
You've got the memory chip at least.
Yeah, you've got the Binding Irons and the Gimp just to have something to play. It's not bad, but yeah, that was a real heartbreak there for Laxie. I think you've got to like consider the mental thing there as well, which I think we've probably all been in the situation where you've been like, you've just seen someone their big player, and you've been like, right, I've dealt with things I need to deal with. Now I can win. Now I can do this. This play is safe. And someone is immediately just draws back the thing. I think I once had a game with my honorable co-host here where I just dealt with his Niflkong, and I was like, right, Niflkong's gone. I can set up a board. I can do whatever. Then he immediately redraws it off the top of the deck, and you just kind of sink in your chair and just have that feeling of, ugh. I just sorted this out, and it.
I level with you. I did feel pretty bad about that one. There was some guilt involved.
Yeah, so there should have been. Okay, so it's interesting that he didn't play the Soul Keeper when he played the. Oh no, he hadn't drawn the Soul Keeper. Apologies, I was thinking of his previous hand. So I think we're going to see one of the Edos being purged, and also Sucker Punch, so you can Whistling Darts as well. To kill both. So getting both Edos out of the way very early on. You've got to imagine that Laskie's very happy to get that done.
Usefully taking out various pieces at the beginning.
Indeed. So you've got some Saurians you can probably see going down. Philosophosaurus, very good one just to get. Oh no, goes to the disc. Oh, picks up the archives. Right, yes. Infernus. Probably getting rid of a Miasma. Would be a good one, and the Whistling Darts as well.
Yeah, I think you kind of want to hold the Saurians because you want to be able to drop the Phalanx Strike and kill something, perhaps.
Yeah,
and they also tend to work better as a sizable group.
Exactly, and you want to be able to like use the Retagallon when it's more useful. I think he's still going to end up playing it down without kind of affecting Laskie's keys, but yeah, with this in the archive. Definitely the player would have made to just play those out and hold on to the Saurians a little longer. Okay, we see a Shadowstone playing Night Porch for the Ember, doing a Nerve Blast, and then sack of coins just to drop some damage. And seems to be set up probably for a Logos turn next, I would see. But here we go with the Saurian turn.
This is what I mean about the lack of creatures in the top deck we see here. They just haven't played any for several turns now.
Yeah. But I think that's kind of Laxie. It's 13 creatures in the deck. I mean,
there's very few of them.
And they're all low power creatures that you kind of expect to die for, want of a better term. Okay, we've got the Orator Hissaro and the Brewstorm Auxiliary. This could be... You want to be seeing the Shrix, but you're probably going to like searching for that with the Philosophosaurus.
And also, you're getting dangerously close to the
Yes, it puts
situation
the Soul
where
Keeper on the helper bot,
if
so
you just
that'll be killing the Odawak currently, which is a good one to get rid of. Sorry, Callum.
you're getting dangerously close to the situation where if you have 3 or 4 or 5 Saurians on the board that you can't get rid of, they can just easily run away with the game.
Yes. Exactly.
For example, he's going to Reap with Philosophosaurus here, Philosophosaurus, probably Orator it to go again.
One would assume, yes.
That's when it's starting to get too far away from you.
It does start to pull up. The train is starting to pull away from the station, yes.
Alas, we don't know what they archived.
We don't. It's a delicious mystery. But did they put the Hapsis into their hands? You've got to assume that it wasn't anything too useful for the current situation.
Yeah. And then discarded the Sanitation Engineer.
Yeah, which...
Ironically.
Ha! Yes. And yet, as you said, it didn't play the Orator Hisaro, interestingly.
Perhaps saving it for Imperial Forge shenanigans.
Yes, that's where you just saw the power of Orator Hisaro Imperial Forge shenanigans last game, so I think that's very likely. Also with Hysteria in hand, maybe they're not wanting to get too much Ember on creatures in case they decide to play that for whatever reason. So get rid of the Brute Dawn Auxiliary. And can't be too chuffed with that Logos turn there. Didn't do that much. Killed a couple of things, but there's still the important pieces of Xoas on the board.
And this is the problem, right? If you don't deal with this Philosophosaurus, it's just going to run away with it.
Yeah, it's going to keep drawing new cards, putting new cards in your archive, and discarding cards you don't need. I think is an even big or more important part. So yep, kills the Replicator. Does a little cheeky reap.
Doesn't want to give Petty Bat a Philosophosaurus of their own.
No. Got to think though, that with the Merkins in hand though, at some point, Laxie hoping to hit something good from Xoas' archive. We don't know what's in there. We've got to assume there's some pretty tasty morsels awaiting.
Potentially so. Okay. A Dis turn here, perhaps? Although it's not... None of the options are looking great.
No, I think Dis, just to get the cards out of your hand, steal a one with the Shula, Ember Imp to make it another thing they have to deal with before they can reap more. And yeah, just keep pulling through. It also depends on what they have in their archive. I don't know if there's a discard in their archive. I didn't see what they put there, but presumably not, as they've not picked up their archive. And
do you hold the Poltergeist here? You want to keep the memory chip. I'd probably discard it, but that's my general.
Holds it. I think it's a fair choice as well.
Worried about the Hologrammophone, maybe?
I'm not mad at it, I'll say. Yeah. And as it's in Xoas' hand, so we should be.
But he doesn't know that.
Playing the Logos here.
Are privy to these mysteries.
Indeed. So playing Logos here makes sense with the Ember Imp. Doesn't really want to just reap with the Saurians and get them stunned. Probably is waiting for a way to just get rid of that. And the Igor, hopefully we'll find one. So yeah, has double Imperium and Orator Hisaro. Still hasn't drawn that Shrix, which, as far as we know, anyway, it might be in the archive.
And that would be pretty high up on my list of things that you would put in the archive, based on what we've seen.
So, I think we're probably going to see a Logos turn here.
Yeah, although
maybe you want to get rid of, maybe you want to get rid of the Anomaly Explorer and use it to kill the Odawak.
That I think is a shout.
The Poltergeist.
But I've got to say, Petty Bat is not getting the run of the cards in the same way that
he's indeed not getting the rub of the green. That's very true.
That's the phrase I'm looking for. Run of the cards is not a real thing.
It can be. It can be. Take some time to think here, which I think is understandable. I would similarly be taking time to think here. This is not an easy turn because you've got the option of Logos, which you're going to be drawing. You've got Feel of the Researcher, so you're going to be drawing one card off that and two cards off of the Igor. You're really looking for answers. Maybe that's the right thing to do, but then you're leaving a lot more of a board for the for Xoas to keep playing with. I don't know.
And just another turn of multiple Saurian Reaps.
Yeah, you also might want to fight the Shula into the Hapsis, because that could start putting the smackdown on some of your creatures, especially like fight the Igor into the Ember Imp and then use the Hapsis to kill it, freeing up subsequent Saurian turns.
They've gone for Logos.
For the Logos.
I think this is reasonable because you haven't seen either of the. You're still looking for the brig combo, right?
Yeah.
And you need to get that before they're threatening for the second key.
Yeah.
It's got the bouncing death quark, which is an aboard answer.
That's very big. Oh, we also got the binate rupture. No interdimensional. Well, no interdimensional graphics that we see. We don't know if it's in their archives. I don't think we've seen them archive it.
I don't think we have.
It plays the bouncing death quark. Okay, so
just kill everything. Yeah.
Kill everything. Yeah. Maybe leave alive the feeler and the Igor. I could see that an argument being just for more card draw in subsequent turns, and the Igor's not doing much. Maybe that's what he's considering here.
I mean, you want to take the Rita Gallum off the board, I assume.
Oh yeah, 100%.
When you're on
Especially on
6.
6 Ember, yeah, you don't want that knock it around. What do we do here? And it's I suppose whether you destroy the feeler or the Shula as well. There's an argument that you might now just have a big body on the board. Especially with how few big creatures are in Laxie's deck, is there value in just having one of your only like 2 5-power things alive? Which that's what he's taken. He's been killed everything.
That's interesting.
I don't think I would have killed everything. I think I would have left at least one thing alive, whether it's the researcher for drawing or whether it's the Shula for fighting. I just don't think destroying a 2-power creature was worth it.
I don't think so. What's interesting is that that's the sort of choice that really shines through in adaptive, right? That if you've played this deck a bunch of times, you will know what the answer to that is. You know relatively quickly what it is you want and need to keep alive, what you value, the order and hierarchy of which creatures are important to you. Or in the case of this deck, I think whether they're important at all.
Yeah.
But this is not Petty Bat's deck, and as a result, they took a little bit longer about that. But it made, I think, a defensible call.
More than defensible. Okay, picked up the archives here. Playing the Rock Grub just to knock them off check. Maybe plays the Hysteria. Yep, just to return the Rock Grub, get them another Ember off. Plays the Malison and the Evil Eye. So still hasn't seen the Shrix yet, and even off this draw hasn't seen it. Nor have they seen the Tribute, I believe.
I don't think so. No, but they picked up the Imperial Forge off one of the fluff sources, so it's there. They're almost there. How much they got left in the deck now?
6 cards left in the deck.
So that's a harsh draw.
It's coming around the bend at this point,
and I think it's a potentially big moment because you avoid the graft.
Yes, you do.
You can forge your second key with Imperial Forge. You've taken out a key combo.
I think we're likely to see, depending on what their archives is, I would maybe go Dis here. I would get a ward on the Shula and destroy their hologramophone and just get myself back on check, knock them down to 3, and just hopefully try and get yourself in a good position to do a big brig combo.
And that looks like what's going down.
Okay.
But still, as far as we know, haven't seen the graft, so we have to assume it's in the...
You assume so, but however, you've got to wonder if they're going to take, depending on how much Ember is, a massive risk here, and just go for the binate rupture and just play the Wild Wormhole. See if they draw.
if it's one of 2,
it's one of 2 cards.
That's
it's not a bad chance.
That's for. I don't like that.
I know you don't like that. I know you don't. But that would be,
might be their only shot if they can't get this key here, which they will. I think.
I think so. Yeah, the Malison can fight, but it would die. The Rock Grub can archive, but
you're still in a tricky situation.
I think you probably don't, because the thing with it is Xoas actually isn't going to have that much Ember by the end of the turn here, so it's not actually worth doing. But
there's the Shrix.
It would be spicy. There is the Shrix. No tribute though, so limited to how effective it can be. You're not going to be able to forge in a turn.
We have a turn for Petty Bat to breathe slightly and to do something else.
He's got the Merkins in the archive. I don't think he's played the Merkins as far as I recall.
No, and you know that card is a rock grub.
Yes. No, he fought with the rock grub to knock the ward off the Shula.
Oh, I missed that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I'll forgive you this time.
That's a good job, really. If we threw each other out for any mistakes we made.
Yeah. One thing it could be interesting to do is he's got both Shulas in the discard pile now. It may be like a not finish with you to shuffle both of them back in.
Yeah, and there's a couple of other useful play effects you might want in there as well.
Oh. You know what's actually really funny? He's got a silver key in. Which means he could potentially stop Xoas from being able to forge his key next turn if he can get that down in his turn.
Yes, but then you would want to be hitting the binary rupture and the graft and kill the silver key on the same turn. I don't think the deck can do that.
No, but it would be funny.
It would.
Oh, he's only forged his first key here.
Yeah, so there's still. I mean, they're a key apiece. They're both trying to set up their combos and having difficulty doing so.
Oh, he's just archiving.
He wants the Strix, right? And he wants the tribute.
Ooh, he's archived something, and you've got to think that Laxie might know he's archived something quite important. Does he just go for the Merkins to see what it is?
I could see myself doing that. You have another turn.
Yeah. You're not forging this turn. You can get a special delivery down to kind of make him have to insulate his Igor. I think that might. He did pick up his archives though. Very strange. Is the graft drawn any of the?
Is the graft in there? We just missed this earlier.
What he put the disc back in on top of whatever those last two cards were. The thing is, though, he can guarantee to get the graft this turn because he can play the Igor, look at the top three, and then either play the World's Wormhole or play the Feel of the Researcher, depending on... There are multiple ways you can now guarantee you get Break this turn.
Assuming that we haven't missed that being archived. I don't think we have.
I don't think we have.
Goes Logos again. Still just holding out for...
a hero.
The big combo.
Oh.
But yes, a hero. In this case, Strix.
The trouble is here though, if you're Laxie, do you really want to let Xoas forge a key? I don't know if you do. That's your trouble.
Yeah, especially when you've not seen Tribute, Strix, or Imperial Forge.
No.
So you know there's a potential to almost make a key out of nothing. This is one of the times where I really wish we could just double check that we're not screwing this up and we haven't just missed them playing Tribute earlier.
Yeah, I'm very sure we haven't missed them playing Tribute. I'm fairly sure we haven't missed them playing Exponential Graft. If we have, feel free to put in the comments and shout at us and call us fools. We will accept your criticism because we've got a helper bot here.
When he's got the Hysteria, a Feeler, and an Igor.
He archived the Binary Rupture as well.
Oh, this could be a disgusting one.
Yeah, just knock all the stuff back to Xoas' hand as well. That's good to do.
And then replay an Igor, a helper bot, and a Feeler.
Yeah, get the draw. So he plays the helper bot here just to get the draw from the Feeler.
I'm not sure it's optimal to do that when you know they have big Saurians coming. It probably isn't, so we think it probably won't happen. But I would be strongly tempted. It's possibly why I'm not as good as the people in this league.
I mean, we all occasionally go for the banter play. I don't think there's any shame in that.
Oh, he's got another Igor now as well.
I think you probably put the Igor down. You just keep sculpting your hand. He plays the help bot down. Okay. Maybe he is just going to go for the Igor and the Hysteria. And I'm not mad at it because you might just redraw into the Bouncing Death Quark. There are other ways of destroying things in this deck. You might get Poltergeist to do their Key of Dis. You're going to be getting so many cards out of this. You've got to back yourself to get some form of answer as a result. And we also know what's an archive. Maybe he's got the Poltergeist in his archive. I don't believe he has because I think he's already played it. Yes, he played it to use. I think it was the hologramophone.
Also, must have archived Graft at this point, right?
Yes.
I mean,
You've got to assume he's got both pieces in hand, and it's just I think just hasn't been in a position to use it. To be fair, though,
yes, I'm just a
Xoas
little
hasn't really been on a big amount of Ember where it's worth functionally letting him have a key.
No, I'm just a little bit annoyed at myself for not following this as well as I might have liked.
I think we're doing fine. Don't worry about it. And there's the
And
Hysteria.
and they've done it. Oh,
I think that's good. I think that's a very good play. I think you're drawing so many cards. Yeah, you got a Shula there coming down now. Would have liked to have got that maybe if no, you wouldn't have because you then couldn't have done the Hysteria. But gonna get 2 more Igors to just filter out the crap essentially. I love this play. I think that's a really strong play. I do similar play in a deck I have where it's a library access and you phase shift Hysteria to bring your creatures back and play them again. So I'm a big fan of didn't play the rest of his creatures. Interesting.
I think that's because they've drawn the Bouncing Death Quark.
Yes.
So if you put them all down, I think it's an instant Keita Dis.
Yes,
and you lose all of them. Whereas in this case,
and then you have no way of killing the opponent's creatures. Yeah, that's actually very smart. Excellent play there. So I think we've got to now assume that they've got the Brig combo in their archives.
Yeah.
And they're just waiting for the chance.
Apologies for having missed it, everybody.
I think there might have been sometimes when they were archiving and we didn't see what they archived as well. So
hit something with the Keita Dis from the Inspector.
Interesting. So playing Dis. It's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off. Going for Dis, getting the steal, playing the Ember Imp. No reap it. Well, Xoas can reap. He'll just be stunned if he does. This is real heart and mouth stuff here, because I think both players have to know the other player has the combo ready to rumble.
And I think that's what Xoas is waiting for. I think they're waiting to try and hit the Imperial Forge so you can avoid the Brig.
Yes, because I think this is the thing where the reversal fixture of an adaptive is that because both players know the other deck so well, they are really playing around the other deck's kind of win condition, for want of a better term.
I think that's a reasonable term.
But it's very much of a like kind of Magic the Gathering type turn, and I feel like we should be antagonistic to the Magic the Gathering types.
Okay, there it is now.
Mm-hmm.
We have all of the combo pieces. So we were correct that Tribute was what, the last card?
I think it was the last card. They've got the Imperial Forge in the archive.
And so we have Shrix, Orator, Tribute, Imperial Forge, the same combo we saw in the first game, essentially, where they got essentially a free key with Ember and Shrix to spare.
The only thing that I think is worth noting here is that I was gonna say that Laxie knows now for 100% that Xoas has the combo, and I was just whether he might just do a cheeky Merkins to try and hit the Imperial Forge.
I would. But I love Merkins. Although it's not quite the same here because they use the Keita Dis, and so now any Tribute is not going to go onto the Shrix.
It's true, yes, because the Lilithful's too big.
So you'll still be able to Imperial Forge, but it'll cost you like a normal amount of Ember, right?
Yep, and there's nothing large enough for it to fight and be destroyed. Oh wait, oh no.
You could take a Dis turn, reap with the Asarom.
You don't need to take a Dis turn to do that, because you can play the Orator Hissaro and reap with the Asarom.
That is gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
So you put it. Let's see if they see it. I think they will.
I think that's what they've been building towards, and I think that could be the play. You know, it might have the same problem of just leaving a lot of Ember on the Senator Shrix, but then it's still the Tribute is going to actually take a lot of Ember. Yeah, so all pieces,
here we go.
Have all the pieces.
I mean, the thing is, even if you leave a bunch on Shrix, if you forge with the Imperial Forge and then are on 6 Ember,
Yeah. Yeah, there's not much that Laxie can do about it at that point. And I feel this might be a death knell for Laxie in this match. And I can't really see how they're going to come back from this, but we'll watch on. I think Xoas has obviously not played with this deck before, is now sitting, trying to work out the optimum way. So yeah, I think place the Strix first. I imagine he's now going to deploy the Orator Hissaro, which he does. Reap with both.
and this is excellent. I would have been looking at that for a long time before I spotted that, if I spotted it at all.
Yeah, so now Reaps with the Eterom to kill the Lilithal. You've got to assume. It is going to stun both, but I doubt he minds.
Thinking through this very carefully.
Yeah. Senator Strix first. There we go. And now the Eterom. And I think, yeah, he has definitely noticed, because I don't think he would have reaped with the Strix first if he wasn't about to do this, to reap with the Eterom to kill the... Oh, he's not done it. Oh, dear.
Ooh, that's a shame.
Oh, well, I mean, I think he's still in a very strong position here. He's still going to forge a key for basically free. But it does just kind of open the door a crack to possibly allow Laxie to come back into this.
Because he's going to have to pay the 6 Ember, right?
Yeah. No,
so won't be... Or we'll pay
I don't think
some.
he does, because he's got 9 on creatures at this point. He's going to pay 3 off of the Strix as well. And he's going to have to pay 3.
Okay, but not threatening the immediate forge.
I think he's going to end the turn with 5 Ember, if my calculations are correct. I think. He's getting the wards down. Place the forge. Forge is a key. I believe he's going to end with 5. I may have miscounted. Not done. No maths.
I'm just too lazy to do the maths. I'm going to wait to find out.
That's very fair.
And this is like high pressure, brain melting. Keyforge sometimes.
Maybe even 4. I think 4. 4 is my new guess. Let's see if I'm right. 4 is my final answer. Oh, 6. My maths. I have no idea why that was the number, but it is. Yeah, I don't think there's any way that.
And does leave themselves on 7. Chose to reap with the Eterom later.
I feel like we may see a banter break, and I hope we do, but I feel like this is unfortunately a loss for Laxie, but fortunately a win for Xoas, because we were impartial here. No, just to concede.
Yeah, fair enough. Can't stop the key.
No.
And that's it.
That's it, done.
So that's the sort of combo timing matchup that we basically see. Both guys in game 2 are agonizing and trying to play around each other's combos. Both of them were very late in the game.
Yeah, I think you've got to feel for Laxie a bit here. The first game, he valiantly fought against that very early brig and nearly pulled it out the bag as a result, but didn't quite manage it. And then the second game, I think Xoas' deck is a hard one to play. I mean, I know I'd struggle with this a lot as someone who doesn't play decks with like small creatures and low creature amounts. Dealing with that kind of thing, it's got to be unfamiliar. And was clearly trying to pull off that brig and just never was in a position to do so.
No, and I think the fact they were never in a position to do so is skillful play on the part of Xoas. Knew that brig was huge, so knew that once they forged the first key, the way to go was a big Imperial Forge key, because you skip over the brig, you leave yourself in, you forge a key, and then threaten.
Yeah, and brig one of those combos that after the second key, useless.
Has to be early.
Yeah, has to come early, and that's unfortunately Laxie couldn't do it. Right, well, Thank you very much for listening. It was a very interesting and entertaining game. Sadly,
times,
didn't go
man.
to the thirds, didn't get to see the always exciting chain bidding, but hope to see you in our next video. I am
All right.
David Bramwell, Fabulous Lark,
And I'm Callum, the good Doctor Young.
and thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Bye bye.